everyone, welcome back to My Unprofessional Opinion Podcast. I'm your host, Angela. So this video is to all my people pleasers out there, and hello, I'm one of you. I think everybody, to some extent, is a people pleaser. I don't know. A lot of people are for sure though, and it can be a good thing, but I think that there are some downsides to it as well. So I think one of the first things to do is realize that there's a difference between being a people pleaser and then just doing things to make people happy, doing it out of the goodness of your heart. You know, it's like be yourself, but be nice too, look out for other people, do things that make people happy, but at the same time, don't compromise like your morals and your values and things that are true just to please somebody, just to go along with somebody, just to not make someone feel uncomfortable, not make somebody upset. Because I think that's when it really starts becoming a problem, because like, if you're anything like me, I like to keep the peace. I like people to be happy. I don't like people being mad at me. So a lot of times I might just kind of go along with it because I don't want to like stir the pot. I don't want to make people uncomfortable. And I mean, sometimes that won't really matter, but if it's something major, if it's something big, then I think, you have a voice, you have an opinion, you have thoughts. So use it, you know what I mean? Don't compromise your morals and your values and everything just to please somebody else. And I mean, in a lot of circumstances, it can be easy to just go with the flow, to keep it and to keep your opinion to yourself, just so people don't get uncomfortable. And at the end of the day, I really think that's not really helping anybody. It's like in that moment, it might be just keeping it calm or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're still having your thoughts, you're still having your opinions, you're thinking whatever happened is wrong. So it's really just going to be eating you up inside. So I mean, I think it's also important to like choose your battles wisely. Don't just go fighting everything. If it's something that doesn't really matter, then maybe just keep that opinion to yourself or don't make a big deal out of it. But if it's something important, if it's something big, then I think, you have a right to say, it, We all have our opinions, we all have thoughts. We're not going to agree with everybody. So I mean, say what you're thinking, and it might be right, it might be wrong. I don't know, but if you don't say anything, nothing's gonna change. So when the time comes that you are going to be letting your opinion be heard, you're gonna be sharing that, you're gonna be standing up for yourself ultimately, make sure you do it out of love, because that's, as Christians, that's one thing God told us to do, is do everything out of love. Sometimes that can be like, nice and sweet. Sometimes that can be tough love, but don't just go up to someone and be like, listen here, buddy, and just like go off on them, because, that's what you might want to do because you have all these like emotions and feelings built up because you've never expressed them before, but that's not going to be beneficial. And kind of what I was mentioning earlier, I think it's important to realize what you're doing. Why are you doing it? Are you not saying how you feel? Are you just trying to keep people happy? Are you trying to not make them upset? Are you just trying to brush over the situation, whatever it is? Like, are you scared how they're going to react? Are you scared that they're going to judge you for your opinions? And 1 Corinthians 10 verse 31 says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And that can be hard sometimes, because sometimes we have these emotions, we have these feelings that we just want to like rip somebody a new one. But that's not going to be beneficial at all. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think if it's something major, I think that's when you need to really communicate it. Communicate how you're feeling, what you're thinking, all those sorts of things. Because otherwise it's just going to be bottled up. It's going to be like, you're going to be holding it in, and then one minute something's just going to happen, you're going to blow up. And sometimes people need that tough love. Sometimes people need a kick in the butt. Sometimes people need to really just hear it from somebody else that what they're doing is wrong, it's not right, whatever it is. And like, everyone has different thoughts, everyone has different opinions and views and what they think is right and wrong and all this sort of stuff. So it's not like gonna be a foreign thought that, oh, I like this, you don't like that. Like, that's not gonna be foreign to people, because we're all different. We all have our different likes and our dislikes. So like, for example, if you're like me, I don't like roller coasters. So if I was at an amusement park and someone's like, hey, let's go on a roller coaster, I could either one say, oh yeah, that'd be so much fun, and absolutely dread it because I hate roller coasters. I get motion sick, I don't feel good and all that sort of stuff. So I could either do that, or I could be like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I'll wait in line with you or whatever, but I'm not gonna actually do it because I don't want to. And I mean, you can't just say, I don't want to anything. It's like, this is something that's totally like optional. So I mean, that's kind of like a silly example, but I think it could just put into perspective. It's like, I could just say yes because I want to keep this person happy. I want to have a good time with my friends. Or I could say no because it's not good for me. I know that I feel sick after and I don't want to put myself through that. So sometimes it's like, I don't want to say like be selfish, but when it's something like, for this example, it's not good for me. There's other situations where it's just something that's not good for you and you need to think of yourself. But at the same time, you don't want to be selfish. You know, you want to be putting people above you. You want to be trying to make people happy, but if it's going to compromise something that's important to you or one of your morals or your values or your well-being, then it's like, you know, thanks, but no thanks. And I mean, it's a lot easier said than done, but I think if you're a people pleaser, if you're just like a yes man to everything, ultimately that's just going to be holding you back because you're not going to be developing your thoughts, your opinions, your voice, and things that are important to you if you're just saying yes blindly to everything. Because a lot of times we need someone to like come up against us in a way and challenge us, because if everything was just yes, 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 then you're not really going to be thinking about a lot of things. You're not going to be questioning like, oh, is this a good idea? Is this right? Is this wrong? Should I change my opinion or my thoughts about this? Like, a lot of people just want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. They don't want to wait. They want everyone to just like be good with it. And I mean, sometimes they don't really care. So that's a different story. But it's not always a bad thing to just challenge somebody and be like, you know, I don't really want to do that. Why don't we try this? If it's like an example like the amusement park or something light like that. And I mean, this might be like a weird example, this roller coaster idea, but like for me, this is something that I'm really trying to improve just in my own life, is not being like a doormat, you know, because a lot of times, like I said, I'm just going to agree to things. I'm going to say yes to things just because I don't want to make people uncomfortable. I don't want to make people mad. But ultimately, that's not a good thing to do all of the time. You know, it can be hard because sometimes things will happen and it won't turn out how you're hoping. Sometimes people will get upset. They'll get angry. They'll get frustrated. They might do something that you don't really like, but this whole thing is a learning curve, just choosing your battles wisely, using discretion in that regard. But, you know, sometimes opening your mouth can get you into trouble. And girl, I've been there. And, you know, to kind of wrap this all up, I think ultimately we need to figure out, who are we trying to please? Are we trying to please people? Are we trying to please our friends, our family, just the people on the street? Or are we trying to please God? And, you know, I think that's something that you really just need to ask yourself and figure out for yourself. I don't think you just do what everyone else does. I think that's really a personal thing of what are you doing? And, you know, hopefully it's going to be the right answer, but ultimately that's what you're going to be desiring, is what you're going to be chasing. And, you know, the Bible does talk about this too. Like in Galatians 1 verse 10, it says, "For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ." And Colossians 3 verse 23, it says, "Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men." And, you know, I don't think that this is always a bad thing, because when you think about it, God gave us a heart. He gave us a heart for others. He gave us compassion, and that should be a good thing. But ultimately, it's going to be, how do you use it? How do you choose to do it? How do you live your life? How do you make all your decisions? Are you doing it for you? Are you doing it for others? Are you doing it for God? Like, where do you stand on that? I think that's something that, you know, we all need to really just look at ourselves, look at our life, look at our decisions that we've made so far and are going to be continuing to make, and then go from there. Anyways, that's it for this episode of My Unprofessional Opinion Podcast. I've been your host, Angela. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for new episodes every Wednesday. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, folks.